Hello and welcome back, beautiful people. In today's video, I'm doing value studies of these sculptures I found on Pinterest and which I do not know the names of, unfortunately, but to whoever made these sculptures, thank you, and I'll be using them for today's video. Anyways, I'm doing value studies in preparation for an upcoming illustration I want to do, and I just recently realized that my rendering has a bit of a problem, I'd say. It's really rather messy, and I'm trying to work on that. I'm trying to work on my brushwork and my rendering, and it's probably because I'm also at that stage where I think my art is a bunch of crap because I haven't drawn in a long time. Obviously that's a factor, but also because my eye has just gotten to a point where I can discern good from bad, and that's also a sign of improvement, and I'm at that current stage right now. So I'm going through it. I'm going through the motions and my art looks terrible. It's frustrating, but I'm gonna get through it. And this is pretty much a phase that every artist goes through, and you will end up going through it a billion times in your life, and you're just gonna have to deal with it, which is unfortunate, but it is the price you have to pay for being a creative. You're just never going to be satisfied with what you make. No matter how good you get, you are never going to be satisfied. You're never going to reach a point where you feel like, oh, I'm finally like a good artist. I don't think there's ever a stage for that. And what perfect timing for the dog to always start barking when I'm recording. Like before I started recording, it wasn't barking, and now it's barking. Oh my god. You know, I am just cursed in this household. This household has a curse on me. Like, it has a chokehold on me, and this dog is just, I swear, every video. Okay, moving on. Moving on from the dog, guys. So, let's just talk quickly about the software I'm using. So this is Clip Studio Paint, obviously, and this app that I'm using to show my reference is called PureRef. It is the best thing in the world. I love it. It's completely free, and yeah, you guys can download it. It's super convenient for placing references and having it lay over your screen or on top of the software you're using, and it's very convenient. I love this thing, and Ahmed Al-Douri is the person who introduced me to this app, so props to him. Thank you, Ahmed. I love you. As for the brushes I'm using pretty much like a bunch of brushes in this value study, but the main ones I'm using is this brush called Awaga, and it's a brush you can find or download on the Clip Studio store. I don't know if that's what it's called, but it's a brush made by another artist. So if you want to download that, you can find it on the Clip Studio store. I'm also using a variety of other brushes made by other artists called Mono Shade and this Noi Soft brush and Noi Hard brush. But I'm also using the basic Clip Studio brushes like the Gouache brush, the Gouache blender, the oil paint brush, and I'm also using a couple other brushes from Ahmed Al-Douri's brush pack and Kyle Webster's, is that what it's called? Mega pack, watercolor brush pack, whatever it's called. Yes, it is originally made for Photoshop, but you can actually use or import Photoshop brushes into Clip Studio Paint, which is super helpful and really great. So that's one thing that you've learned today. If you didn't know that, you can import Photoshop brushes into CSP. Okay, so that's the software and brushes that I'm using, but remember that it is not your tools or brushes that make your art good. It's really the artist. It's you who is responsible for the art you make. And yeah, don't let the tools or your brushes define your art, nor you. Okay, now I gotta find another topic to talk about. Okay, maybe I could talk a little bit about why value studies are so helpful, but the thing is, I don't know why. I don't know how to explain it to you other than that they're just really helpful, especially for beginner painters, and it helps me a lot. It's helping me a lot right now to break down, things into simple values, breaking everything down into shapes that I can see, and it's really helpful for painting. But I'm terrible at it, so that's why I'm doing them now. So I suggest if you have like a hard time painting with color, do value studies first, and once you get comfortable with that, then you can go into color, because it really helps when you start adding in color, because values really are the foundation to everything. Every like YouTube tutorial I've ever watched about color, like Marco Bucci, who else? I don't know, like Proco, or like James Gurney, they always talk about the importance of values, and I hear like the word values all the time, every freaking time, and that's just how important values are. So I've decided to take them a bit more seriously, because I've always been really lax with my study in values, because I've always been like, oh, they're not important, it's color that's important. No, apparently not. So yeah, it's always important to have it's always important to have a good foundation before, moving on to the more complex stuff, which is my mistake, to be honest, but I'm laying the groundwork now. I'm trying to learn my foundations as best as I can, and it's really hard to do that when you're not in art school sometimes. Like, I feel frustrated because there are parts or points in my art journey where I'm like, okay, I really need to improve on this specific thing, but I don't know what exactly I'm supposed to be doing to get to that point, or what I should be doing, or what am I doing wrong. And it's really hard to not have like a teacher, critique your stuff, because that's really what's important in improving, is having someone critique your things. And obviously I have my friends, but it's just different when it's a professional or a teacher who knows what they're doing critiquing your things, because they can really objectively look at your art and tell you what steps you need to take. Okay, so this first value study I did, I'm actually not super happy with it, and you can see that I don't fully render like everything, like the hair and the rest of the sculpture. I'm focusing mainly on the face, because that's what's most important to me, which is the face. And I'll eventually do the hair at some point when I feel like it, but right now I'm just focusing on the face, because it can be really intimidating, so by telling myself, we're just gonna do the face, it's more manageable for me. Anyways, back to what I was saying about this value study not being that great. I don't like it that much. I mean, I am really rusty after not having painted in so long, especially having not painted on my computer for a while, because I've just been drawing on my iPad, and some of my brushes that I mainly use are not on my iPad because I was too lazy to transfer them. So I've been using different brushes on the iPad, and now that I'm back on my PC using these old brushes, it's like, oh, I've completely forgotten how to use them. So I'm trying to get back into the groove of it. But anyways, I don't like this first one that much. The second one, I will say I think I did significantly better, but maybe it's also because like the lighting was easier to work with, and it was more or less like a quarter view of the face, not a full view, so it was easier, more or less. Or maybe I just finally warmed up enough for me to feel like, okay, I'm back in the zone, like I know what to do now, I'm not completely lost. Unlike this first one where I was like intimidated by everything, and then I was worried about how it would turn out, like I usually am. So sometimes drawing gives me anxiety. I don't know if anybody else feels that way. I think I went through some point in my journey where drawing just gave me serious anxiety because I fell into the trap of perfectionism and just feeling like I always had to make good stuff, and every piece of art that I had to make should be good, or like my magnum opus, when that shouldn't be the case. Like, you are going to make shitty and crappy stuff, and that's okay. Like, that is perfectly fine. Like, you need to make those crappy drawings to get to your good ones. So it's really important to let go of perfectionism, especially as a creative, because you will never be able to make something perfect, and you're just gonna have to deal with that. And yeah, being a creative is hard, is what I realized recently, or like I'm starting to realize again, that it is so hard to make art. Like, making art is just so hard. But yeah. So in this like first few stages, I really struggled with doing the eyes. Like, for some reason, I don't know why, but I just struggled with the eyes. And in the first stages, I actually just did block-ins, like blocking in like the colors, the general values of them, and then eventually I would become more specific. So from general to specific is what was kind of my plan going into these value studies. So yeah, I also really recommend that you don't, how do I say this, you don't follow what I'm doing exactly in these studies, because I may be doing some things wrong. So it's really important that you don't just take everything at face value. So if you're watching these videos and you're like, oh, maybe I should do my stuff like that, maybe not all the time, because I may be doing some things wrong. And that's why it's important to look at professional artists and see what they're doing and compare it. You know, it's always important to compare and contrast your knowledge, because information can be misleading, and the worst thing that you want is to learn the wrong things, because that is the biggest thing that's going to hinder your process, or not your process, but your art journey, and it's the biggest roadblock to improvement. So it's really, really important that you know who you're learning from, and that they're a credible source of information to learn from. So when you're watching videos like mine, like, oh, draw with me, is like, sure, you can watch them, of course, but I feel like you have to watch them with a certain like mindset that I'm not going to exactly copy what this person is doing, but maybe take some inspiration. Like, just some inspiration, sprinkle in a little inspiration, I suppose, or just watch it with your brain turn off. Like, maybe you just want to be drawing with someone. So yeah, like, sometimes I just watch draw with me videos just because I want to have like, I want to feel like I'm drawing with a friend, you know, or I just want to watch someone drawing, but not necessarily because I want to copy the way they're drawing. I just want to watch someone else draw because I don't want to do it, because I'm too lazy to draw at that moment. So that's why I watch those kind of videos. So it's really also important to know, like, okay, like this person, I'm watching this person's art for the sake of what? Or I don't know. Am I making sense? I have no idea what I'm talking about anymore. Anyways, let's move on from that topic. Anyways, enough of this serious talk. Can I just say that I actually really like Hawaiian pizza? Like, I don't think it's that bad. I actually quite enjoy it. I think it's refreshing to have the pineapple on the pizza. It's like a new texture, like a new flavor, you know, and keeps it not boring, just having all the cheese and meat and sauce. I mean, if it were any other fruit, like an apple or a grape, I think I would be disgusted. But I think pineapple is just such a good fruit that goes with savory so well. I mean, like some cuisines, I don't know which, but I do recall that they sometimes put in spicy stuff and then mix it with pineapples. Like, they put spicy powder on pineapples, or like red chili powder on pineapples. Like, anything that goes so well. I've tried it before. It actually goes really well. So I don't see why you can't put pineapples in pizza. Like, whoever made the argument that you can't put pineapples in pizza is crazy. Let people enjoy things, okay? We just can't have good things in life nowadays, I swear. So I am a pineapples and pizza supporter, and if you want to fight me on that, please don't, because I can't be bothered to fight you in the comment section. Or if you're gonna unsubscribe, I don't blame you, but feel free to unsubscribe if you don't agree and you don't like my stance on that. But I hope you don't. Anyways, I really have nothing else to talk about. Per usual, that's not surprising. That's kind of my thing, not having anything to talk about. And you guys probably think that I should come up with a list of topics to talk about before the making of these videos, but I don't. Because even if I do make a list of topics and then I look at my list and I'm like, okay, so it says on my list of topics that I'm supposed to talk about fish, but I still don't know what I'm going to talk about. I have no idea what to talk about, even if I do have a list that says talk about fish. What do you mean talk about fish? I can't talk about fish. I don't know what to talk about. I'm just in a state of paralysis. My mind just kind of goes blank when I'm put in front of a camera, and then they're like, okay, speak. And then everything that I know about fish just goes out of the window. And I don't know that much about fish anyways, so yeah. Also, I just want to talk about streaming, I guess, because I'm really interested in streaming. However, I do not have the equipment for that. But I think it would be really fun to interact with people. However, the internet is also scary, so that kind of puts me off. And the terrors of streaming kind of haunt me. Also, I forgot to mention, but the second half of the video is kind of laggy, and I don't know what was happening with my OBS at the time, or what was going on with my computer, but my computer is kind of really old. It's not kind of, but it's really, really old, and I'm surprised it's still living to this day. I have been thinking of getting a gaming computer and getting the parts for that, but it's super expensive. But I think it would be a really good investment, especially if I want to continue doing super high quality art, and it's going to require me more space and a computer that's actually gonna allow me to be able to run certain software that I want to use, because damn this dog. But anyways, as I was saying, I really want to get into 3D and be able to incorporate 3D in my work, hopefully. And I've attempted that a couple of times, trying to learn 3D, but what's always stopped me is that it's hard for me to render things in 3D because my computer just does not have the specs for that. It's not built for 3D. Anything 3D, it will just lag. And even just me turning on the computer and then running Clip Studio, the sound the sound my computer makes is similar to the sound of an airplane starting. The fan is just so loud and it's just so hot, so that's probably a sign that I should upgrade it, or maybe I just need to clean it because it's probably really dusty down there. Who knows what's going on in that thing. But we are almost 10 minutes away from finishing this video. I don't know, but I guess I'll leave you guys to your silence, and I'll just play music in the background. I don't know if you've noticed, but I've been playing the same music because I can't be bothered to find new music. Maybe I will. Maybe this video will have some new music. Who knows? Only future me knows. So that's up to you guys if I'm playing the same music or not. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope we see each other in the near future, and hope and pray will be an art related video, but I can't guarantee that. Anyways, I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.